From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production, the NFL Bet Exchange, hosted by my man, Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, and the Don of Cape Cod, Jeff Dawson.
All right, world, what's going on? It is time for the NFL Bet Exchange with your host, Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, and the man himself, the Don of Cape Cod, Mr. Jeff Dawson. Always a pleasure to have you with us from your lovely home over by the Cape. So, well, actually, he's at the big office, the big studio now. So, pardon me, but all in all, thank you for joining us today. Usually we join you guys on Tuesday, but we had to do the show this week on Thursday. No worries. It's right on time anyway. So how you doing, bro?
I'm licking my chops after last week's fiasco. I talk about it every year. There's usually one or two of those weeks where when you zig, you're supposed to zag and vice versa. Hats off to an amazing week that you had. I'm glad that someone was on the right side. And overall for the year, we're both plus double digits on wins. This, like every day, but especially the NFL, is a marathon. We're up to week 14. Some teams have mailed it in. Some teams fighting for a playoff spot. In the next week or two, we'll be hearing teams fighting for a home playoff game. And that's what the NFL is all about. So I'm ready, Pops.
All right. So let's go ahead and see exactly what Jeff's talking about last week. Jeff, I don't want to put Jeff on the spot, but he was 5-9-1 last week. So if he was following Jeff, don't hurt him, because he's giving you guys 12 win weeks, 11 win weeks, 10 win weeks this year. So it's all good. I was the one that was really lagging to start the year off, and then we kind of have gotten it together. But as you guys can see, we are doing pretty good this year. So we kind of know what we're talking about, huh, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, especially this far along in the game. I mean, for you to be 18 games over 500 for myself before last week, was in that spot now.
Yeah. Hey, well, I somewhat heard you. It kind of went in, kind of went out real quick again, Jeff.
No, I said we're sitting exactly where we need to be as we get to the last few weeks of the season. It's we're buckled up. We're ready to go. I mean, you got teams that are fighting for the playoffs, teams that have already mailed it in, worrying about where they'll be drafting next year, and then soon we'll be hearing teams trying to jockey for a home playoff game or trying to jockey in the NFC on not playing Tom Brady somewhere. So it'll be interesting.
Well, we'll see. We'll see, because we'll talk about that a little bit more when we get to the Bucs, because you kind of on to the same read that I'm on as well too. So let's start it off with this used to be the Battle of the 5 freeway. We had Anaheim and the South Central going at it. You had the Raiders at the Coliseum, and you had the Rams at the old Big A. And this game used to always be like a game that would literally be shown on like every network in LA when I was a kid, where they would play each other, even though it was always like a pro Raider situation. For the Rams tonight, over under 44.5. Rams. Why? When you had your is that I actually was on a flight with him a few months back, and I told him, well, he was the starting quarterback last week. So pretty much I already by the time that the Rams got him. And it's funny now. 3-9, losers of 6 in a row. They have not looked good. 2-1 this season off. So this was not what Stan Kroenke expected. This bad, and it's just the avalanche just keeps falling, and even today, winning the Super Bowl, and he's the highest paid coach in the NFL. But after a 2-7 start, they got the excitement going right now because where things have gotten a lot easier, but really we know what he did. He made it a pro. Able to do the same thing Tom used to be able to do with guys like Randy Moss and Raiders. It's really not much to talk about here. The Raiders should really run. Him either. So can you hear me better?
I just heard you. I hadn't heard you for 3 minutes.
All right, I'm just gonna do this from my phone. Give me 1 second. All right. Okay. Can you hear me? Is everything better now?
You sound better.
Not really.
It's better.
All right. Is that working out a bit better?
It's working out better than it was before, yes.
Okay, so let me go ahead. I got my phone, so pretty much it's all up and close. So pretty much I don't have it to where my face is right there. But as I was saying already, Jeff, I really do truly feel like this could be a game that really gets out of hand a little bit quicker than a lot of people expect it to. So, I just really expect some things to be a little different in this game tonight for the Raiders, where they absolutely have a game where they can actually not have to worry about winning a game in the last second. But it's the Raiders, so it is what it is. But I got them with the -6. Your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, the game is just so hyper inflated. I mean, it was a 3.5, 4. Immediately got corrected to 6.5. Woke up this morning and it was 7 in some spots. It's back to 6.5. Sharps will be buying the Rams plus the 7 all day. The general public, the degens, the squares will just be trying to get under that number. We bought the hook earlier when we did this on Tuesday, and Raiders minus the 5.5. Listen, this team was, before the season started, expected to compete. They had a bad stretch. I called them Mr. 702, Josh McDaniel. They were dead and buried, and miraculously now they've won 3 in a row. So as you said, when you expect this team to win and do something, they never do. But we'll take a shot just because the Rams are that worse. No Stafford, no Cup, no Allen Robinson. The list just keeps growing day by day. Raiders are supposed to call their number here, get in, get out, get a victory. They've had 2 walk-offs. They looked great last week. Carter Adams is just the talk of the talk in the Raiders. So we bought the hook, Raiders minus 5.5. Number says 40. It's down to 42.5. Wouldn't be shocked if it landed on 24-20 pups, but we'll take the Raiders here.
Yeah, and it's a Thursday night football game, so you would expect that the Rams will be up to it a little bit tonight to, kind of show out for the fans, probably the 10 fans that they'll have there at the stadium tonight, because this is about to be a pro Raiders game coming up on this one, man. I'll be dead honest. All right, so let's get to the Jets and the Bills. Jets and the Bills. This is probably a matchup that should have probably been flexed to Sunday Night Football because it's a good game. And when do we ever see the Jets on Sunday Night Football? You know what I mean? So when you look at it now, it's like I think that you guys just picked the Chargers because you guys just want to have a double SoFi situation. I'm getting a little lazy here because everybody's stationed out in LA, so they're starting to get kind of lazy with the situation. But when I look at this, you do have the Bills losing Von Miller this week and everything like that. But I don't think that's really that big of a deal, to be honest with you. I think that what happens here is that you have a Bills team that's rolling right now, and they're feeling good about themselves. They already got out their little losing streak to me when they lost those 2 in a row. And they should have won the Jets game a few weeks back, but the Jets won that off of emotion and adrenaline as well. To this right here, I think we really will see exactly who the Jets really are and see who the Bills really are. And you know what? The last few times the Jets have went to Buffalo, it's been a disaster for them. So the -9 looks like it's really steep, but I think it's right on the money, to be honest with you. So I'm taking the 9 on the Bills.
I'm the same way. The Bills, 3 games, 3 road games, 11, 12 days, 2 in Detroit, 1 in New England. Took care of business in all 3 of them. Back to the number 1 seed. We've talked about them at length in August. They were the team to beat. We'll circle the wagons come January. Good luck trying to beat them after a bye week and then trying to come in there in January. A number 9. Next week, they do face the Dolphins. It was funny. Sunday was the first divisional win that the Bills got. They had lost already to the Jets and to the Dolphins. They got the Dolphins next week, but I think they take care of business. Get a little tape now on Mike White. So I think, he had an opportunity to win again last week in Minnesota, fell short. And I think he's going to be, Bills get out early and then they take care of business. We laid the 9 pops.
All right. Hold on. Sorry. Because I'm trying to see. Hold on. Let me mute this mic. Can you hear me, Jeff?
I got you.
Stream.
you're back to that old feed again that's really slow and dragging and stuff.
All right. We good now. All right, can you hear?
You're frozen.
All right. I just had to go like this, Jeff.
All right, I got you.
All right, I'm trying, man, but I don't know what's going on with my studio right now, but it's just tripping right now. I don't feel like it. So.
That's why I said I have a show at 9 tomorrow, and I have a show at 11:30. I'll be done at 12:30. You know, if you want to do it 12:30 or 1 o'clock and try to get it through,
it's
that's
cool.
Okay.
I just got to go get my stand. That's all I got to do. We'll just wait. I'll go get that when it's time to go to commercial.
Okay.
But yeah. All right. So Texans, Cowboys, Jeff. This is a weird one right here, dude. This is one that you say to yourself, man, what's going on with this game right here? You know, like just what's the deal? You know, so I just truly feel like we can put ourselves in a position where you can go either way. You know what I mean? And I think that when you say to yourself, 16.5 point spread, they're really not giving these guys a chance at all. And I would say it's understandable, but it's not really understandable either. So, you know, I think that pretty much what this entails is that we have ourselves a very good situation going on with the Cowboys because they're just absolutely covering these spreads that are -10 and all that good stuff. But you still say to yourself, this is the Battle of Texas. And if anything, this is the Super Bowl for the Texans this season. And you know, they always want to figure out a way to kind of annoy the boys a little bit. And I think they actually have a winning record over the Cowboys in their all-time series during the season as well too. We all remember opening day. when they first came into the league, they beat the Cowboys. That was a bad Cowboys team at the time, but that was still the wow, they beat the Cowboys. So, they still living off of that from years ago. So, I didn't really think too hard about this game because it's 16.5 points, and I'm literally just going to go ahead and take the charity from the book this week. It's that simple, man.
Yeah, I mean the Cowboys, their explosion Sunday uh, against the Colts. I think they scored 26 points. The defense just chewed up Matt Ryan. It was scary where this team is going. I mean, they're going to go as far as their defense take them. It's not going to be Dak and the offense that wins those playoff games. And so here again, listen, I probably am on the wrong side here. That's way too many points. It's an inflated line. This will be a grab-ass game the whole time. Cowboys, what's the total here? The total is, where's the boys? It's 44 with a minus 16.5. I mean, if Texans score 13, they're going to cover. So I'm hoping they score less than 13. We took the boys minus 16.5. An absolute garbage game.
Now you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings and win big with Stable Duel. Get the app, pick your horses, and get in on the thrill of horse racing with daily games competing against other players. Bring home the glory and the cash and move up the annual leaderboard while you leave your competition in the dust. Get in the game with Stable Duel. Play, race, win.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another, and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
All right. Let's jump into our next game, and that's going to be the Vikings and the Lions. And this one right here is going to be a real good one. Jeff, take over for a second. I'm going to go get this stand so then I don't have to hold this phone the whole time we're talking.
All right, this is a funny game. The Vikings opened up -1 or 1.5. The 10-2 Vikings, that is, and they traveled to this inspired Lions team where it's now 5-7, and the public is just waiting for the Viking team to fade. And let me just explain it this way: for the past couple years, the Vikings led the NFL in losses by 1 possession or more. And the difference between those teams and this year's team is they're now winning those 1 possession games, hence the 10-2 record, hence 1 game behind the Eagles right now, but just technically 2 because the Eagles hold the head-to-head win there on that Monday night early in the year. So again, what we basically decided to do here is this, and are we buying the steak or the sizzle? I know the whole world here is on the Lions. I do respect the flip. What we ended up deciding to do is, instead of getting cute, we could have bought a hook and took the Vikings plus the 3, which is probably the smarter move here. But what we decided to do is said, the hell with it. We'll ride the hot Lions. We'll take them in the money line. We're getting rid of all the points there. So we took the Lions -135 on the money line to get the win, Pops.
All right, so there you have it, Jeff, putting you guys up on game about that. And pretty much, man, that one right there, this game, Jeff has it to he has the Lions. And then what I'm going to go do is, I know that this is not the most popular play in the realm, but you know, I am going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to go ahead and take Minnesota in this spot because I just like that they're plus money this week, and I think that we can get something going with them this week. And I just don't trust Detroit. I just never trust Detroit now. I just don't know why, but I just don't trust them. So, that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to take I'm going to go ahead and take this game right here, Vikings plus 115. And this is just going to be something that I take to the bank. Hopefully we can go ahead and cash this bad boy out. I like the way that the Vikings they're so gritty, man. They just know how to really play the game. And I think that's absolutely amazing to watch on a week in, week out. A lot of people don't believe in what they're doing, but I think that it doesn't really matter what they believe as long as you keep winning football games. That's all what really matters at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So that's what they're doing, and that's what it's beautiful to see. And I think that they won't be a team that wins a championship, but they're going to do some things though. That's my whole thing.
No, I agree. I think they're the disrespected team. It's the Eagles, it's Dallas. The 49ers take a big hit losing Jimmy G. They were gaining all the momentum. They were the sexy one that was going to pull this off. And in comes Tom. So, no one talks about the 10-2 Vikings. So we'll see.
All right. So let's move forward. Let's go ahead and jump into the Eagles and the Giants. Eagles and Giants. This game is going to be another fun game. You have the Eagles coming into this one very very ready. You know what I mean? And then you have the Giants coming in here 7-4-1. Eagles are 11-1. The Eagles proved a good point last week, Jeff, with their win over the Titans. I think that this was huge for them because they had to really show us that they could really compete against one of the playoff caliber team that's not in their division. So pretty much they went ahead and they took care of their business. And they just really went ahead and it was a lot, you know what I mean? And I think that I don't think that the general manager necessarily got fired because of AJ Brown, but that could be kind of a reason why. But I still think that the Eagles just played so well last week that nobody was going to beat the Eagles the way that they played. Now, when I see what's going on with the with the Giants, they played really hard last week. They found a way to come back in that game. They fought really hard. And that's what you like about Brian DeBall and his team is that they really don't lay down. They weren't supposed to be this good, but they don't lay down either. So I think the Giants actually can pull the upset off. I'm not going to money line them though, Jeff. I'm just going to go ahead and put them as the +7, take the insurance on the spot. And I think the Giants can go ahead and get us something nice today. Okay, and as we talk about the NFC East teams, we got a situation going on with Snyder, but we'll get into that a little bit. But thing is, you have +7 on the Giants. Jeff, what are your thoughts on this one?
It's funny. 2 weeks ago, the Eagles 6.5-point favorites. They played grab ass against the Packers, and they win by 7. They open up 6.5 against the Titans, and the public said not so fast. And they bet the Titans, and the Eagles just boxed wide them. It was AJ Brown's revenge game. It was nice to see. Open up this week, 6.5. I mean, the pure eye test is this: the Giants just don't have enough offense to compete. So if Jalen and company lose the turnover battle, if they can't run the ball, if they're just coming in expecting to win, I expect the Giants to keep it close. But with all that said, this team's still trying to get that number 1 seed. It's still trying to stiff arm the rest of the competition. Listen, they're cooking with Crisco. I mean, they lead the NFL in rushing. Their quarterback, their backfield is Sanders, Scott, Gainwell. I mean, they can do it all right now. And this is with Godard or Godair, whatever you want to call him, on the IR. They're going to put a lot of pressure on Daniel Jones if they keep him in their lanes. Don't let them get out and rush for 75, 80 yards. It's Eagles all day. I could see a pick 6, 8. The under over, I think, was 45. I think the Eagles get to 27 plus, and I just don't think that the Giants have enough ammo to keep up with that. So we get the Eagles minus 6.5 pops here.
All right. So let's jump into this. We're gonna take a quick commercial break, real quick, and then when we get back, we'll jump into this Ravens and Steelers situation and see how this one goes. But pretty much that's where we are right now, and hopefully we can go ahead and get some more really good analysts out. So we'll be right back with the NFL Bet Exchange.
Now you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings and win big with Stable Duel. Get the app, pick your horses, and get in on the thrill of horse racing with daily games competing against other players. Bring home the glory and the cash and move up the annual leaderboard while you leave your competition in the dust. Get in the game with Stable Duel. Play, race, win.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another in Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
All right, we are back, and hopefully it feels like it's gonna work. Jeff, you can hear me, right?
Loud and clear.
All right. So hopefully we can get a show going. You know what I mean? It's been 30 minutes, and I'm definitely not on my A game, but this is what we have here first. We have the Ravens and the Steelers. This is a good matchup this week, and I think that Jeff knows what time it is. It's Tomlin time, right now in the NFL, in a sense, because this is his season. He always coaches it up pretty well in December. It doesn't matter who the quarterback is. Doesn't matter what the Steelers' issues are. He just is a very good leader of men, and it's just that simple when it comes down to Mike Tomlin. I had to give him his props, even though I'm not the biggest Steelers fan. Dude, I really don't. I hate the Steelers, to be honest with you. But like I always tell everybody, they're all my favorite team on any given Sunday. You know what I mean? If I need them. So the Steelers are a team to me that should be able to really give it a go here. But I think the Ravens, I trust the Ravens situation here. I know they're 8-4. There's no Lamar, all that good stuff. But the Steelers are still a very limited team on the offensive end. And I think that the Ravens are playing good enough defense at this point to where you can go ahead and you can respect the absolute situation of what's going on, because they have a capable backup quarterback that can actually win this game. The Steelers, on the other hand, the Steelers haven't had a game where they really were able to blow a team away all season long. They've had to really go through the gusto, really go through the fire and everything like that. So I like the Ravens with the plus 125. You getting plus money on the Ravens this week? Why not?
You started it off well. It is Tomlin time. What he does during the month of December, again, if you go back to his history, never a losing season, and wasn't dealt the greatest hands this year. Brings over Mitch Trubisky, didn't work out. Wanted to try to season Kenny Pickett. Pickett comes out, battle scars. They're battling. Najee Harris hasn't had a great year. The one of the high T.J. Watt hurt. One of the bright spots was obviously Pickens from Georgia, and now he's all frustrated on how he was used last week. So I expect Tomlin to pull the troops together. In comes a Raven team, no Lamar Jackson, who has been pathetic, awful the last 6-7 weeks. And anyone that says, Lamar, you bet on yourself and you lost. No, they just going to franchise him, and he's going to It's the average of the top 5 quarterbacks. They're going to make a cool $45 million next year and probably the year after. So it is what it is. He's not getting 11 years like these baseball guys, but that's for another show, Pops. We're going to take Tomlin in the money line. We're going to say, hey, you know what? Hundley's not going to beat us. They have no wide receivers. I mean, Duvernay's been quiet. Andrews nicked up. Unless they get 5 field goals from Tucker, I think the Steelers grind this one out, Pops, and find a way to win.
All right. Okay, so let's get into the Bengals and the Browns. And this one is a battle of Ohio, really battle of Paul Brown's teams, as I always like to say, the original team and the team that he and his spite team. You know what I mean? Because it's like he went to Cincinnati and was like, and I know everybody scratched their head the day that Cincinnati got announced to be an NFL franchise as well, too. But the only way Cincinnati ever was going to get an NFL franchise is because of Paul Brown. Paul Brown, the NFL felt like they owed him one or whatever. So they're here. But no diss to Bengals fans because they're just as passionate as Browns fans. It might be one of the best rivalries and family. This is the only NFL teams that can really say that they're family, to be honest with you, Jeff. You know what I mean? You know, they always say stepbrother and all this other stuff as a cliche thing, but these guys are really brothers in a sense. So, you know, it's always fun to watch this game. But at the moment, the Browns have the advantage in this one. They're 4-0 against Joe Burrow. They've won the last, 8 out of 9 against the Bengals as well, too. They've absolutely wrecked this team for the last 4 years. And, you know, the Browns haven't even been good in the process as well, too, but they've figured out ways to beat the Bengals. And I think this game right here is a letdown game for the Bengals, to be honest with you, Jeff, because I truly do feel like this team is really good. They're balling. But once they start putting you at the head of the parade, that's when you get into a little bit of trouble because everybody else doesn't really like that. And I kind of didn't like the fact that they were already crowning them the champs of the AFC after the Chiefs game. And you know I'll be dogging the Chiefs, but I said, come on, hold up now. Let's not play that game that the Bengals have already have it already figured out because they won a regular season game by 3 points. So let's not play that game because they really had to. They really it's not like they destroyed the Chiefs each time they played them. They were all eke out wins, and you know, at the end of the day, that's great that you survived. But that's not you telling me that you're the more dominant team in this situation. I just think that possibly the Chiefs just did not execute as well as the Bengals did in the game. But that doesn't mean that they're the better team. So, you know, the Bengals to me still have a lot of proving to do, regardless of how anybody feels. I know everybody's in love with Chase and Higgins and all these guys, and Joe Burrow is Tom Brady part 2 or whatever. But the thing is, these guys are still human, and they still are a team that has a lot of flaws to them as well, too. They don't rush the passer well. They're not getting a lot of interceptions this year. Their defense is more bend but don't break type of situation. And, you know, I think that the Browns know everything they have to do to shut these Bengals down, in my opinion, Jeff. And I think that the Bengals just keep overlooking them and they keep getting beat by them because of that. And that's one thing you can't do with your big brother, man. You know what I mean? Especially when the hard times that they've had as well, too. So I like the Browns in this spot. It's pretty obvious I do. And I like them with the money line as the dog bet of the week. Let's do it again, Jeff, because I've been right on this thing about 3 times in a row. Let's just keep riding a hot hand. Your thoughts?
Well, first and foremost, I think the line smells to holy heaven. I think the number's short. I mean, secondly, Deshaun Watson looked putrid last week in Houston. The defense, I think, 2 touchdowns, a safety, and a punt return. That was all they're scoring. And Pops, last year my love affair with Joe Burrow, and the Bengals, they made it to the Super Bowl. And they were very fortunate, not just in Tennessee, but in Kansas City, okay? And I wasn't a believer in LSU. He started to grow on me last year. I compared him to Dan Marino getting to the Super Bowl that early. Will they ever get back? He's 3-0 now against Patrick Mahomes. He's won in Kansas City twice now. He won at home this time. That 3rd and 9 throw, hats off to the coach. Because you know what? If you ran the ball, took 30 seconds off the clock, kicked the field goal up 6, we've seen this highlight 25 times. Mahomes was going to come down, get a touchdown to Kels, kick the extra point, and they were going to win by 1. The last month to 5 weeks, this offensive line, this running game of Joe Mixon, they were doing it without Jamar Chase. Now, Joe Mixon's been out for a few weeks. In comes P. Ryan. Chase is back. This team is legit. Joe Burrow is legit. And we took them minus the 5.5. I can see what you're saying about a letdown. I really can. Maybe Watson's a little sharper. They're playing with house money, the Browns. But this Bengals team, it's a 3-horse race. It's the Bills, the Chiefs, and the Bengals in my eyes in the AFC. And Joe and the Bengals have proven they can go on the road and win these games. And he's just getting better. And if the O-line can keep him up, if he can stay healthy, Chase stays healthy, it could be a dangerous out, Pops.
And then Dolphins fans are like, what about us?
No, and it's funny you say that because they are a team where here's how I see this, and I talked about it earlier this week. The problem with the Dolphins, no disrespect to Tua, okay, is the fact that once you get into late December and January and get outside away from South Beach, if you're playing in a Buffalo, you're playing somewhere where it's cold, 30-mile-an-hour winds, it's snowing, the arm strength still isn't there for Tua. So, I know he's great catching these guys on strides. He's really going to struggle when he has to go somewhere in January to play. And they're that next team. And I think they're dangerous as well. I do. But I don't put them with the Bills, Chiefs, and Bengals right now.
I got you. And I don't put them up there either. I think that they're actually playing a season where they're playing out of their body a little bit. They're kind of overachieving a little bit this year. You know what I mean? And you didn't expect them to be this good. You expected them to be improved, but you didn't expect them to be on the run that they are right now. But I think last week we saw a lot of things that show a lot of flaws in the armor for the Dolphins. We knew it was there. We just were waiting for a team to just literally beat on them a little bit, not play around with it too much, because as I keep saying, the Dolphins have had only so many blowouts this year. I think probably 2 and when you have that record, you got about 4 or 5 of them in the mix. They only got 2 of them. And that was because those games were just games that they found themselves doing everything well in. But then in other games, they had to come back and things like that. So, it's just a lot. You know what I mean? And I think that you can't just crown teams in week 14. We can't do that. Not in today's NFL.
No, I understand that. I really do, because it only takes one injury. It takes, to turn a whole season around. I mean, just look at the 49ers. They were the sexy team in the NFC. They were the team that could win on the road. They added McCaffrey. Their defense is getting stronger. Before last week, hadn't allowed a second half point in 4 straight weeks. Now you think Brock Purdy is going to lead them into Philadelphia or lead them into Dallas or wherever they have to go? You really got to start looking. That's all it takes. Von Miller out for the year, so there's a lot of injuries, still a lot of time. But what are the AFC top 3 all have in common, Pops? They got absolute stud quarterback play with Josh Allen, with Patrick Mahomes, and Joe Burrow.
Right. And, that's what's pushing the league right now. So, that's on their agenda. So, it is what it is. Let's get into the Chiefs and the Broncos real quick. And as now we go into these late games for the NFL this week. And they're not doing us any favors this week with this one, Jeff. They knew that if, you had to make this a high spread because the Broncos are playing absolutely dreadful. They thought that this could possibly be a game where they were going to be vying for the AFC West this year as well, too. That's why it was a Sunday night football game. But really, they were trying to sell the whole Russell versus Mahomes matchup and everything like that. But Russell isn't a box office quarterback anymore. So pretty much you can't throw that in there, because they gave the Broncos 3 national games in a row. And we just can't keep doing this anymore. You know what I mean? So the Chiefs coming here ready to get themselves a big win in this spot, Jeff, because that last week was something that, they wanted that game badly, because if it comes down to, say, them losing 4 games this year and the Bills winning out, then quite possibly if you say the Bengals won out, then they would be a 3rd seed. And I know it doesn't really matter after you don't get the bye, but still, they don't want to be playing a road game in the divisional. So the Chiefs are going to be A1 in this game, I believe, but I still think the Broncos are going to show some heart, because this game got switched, and usually when these games get switched, you get better games in a sense, even though it could have been a really good game on Sunday Night Football, but they decided to say, let's pull it out for the Chargers and the Dolphins, and I really don't understand why, but I know why they're playing that one up, because Tua and Herbert were, was always a discussion about Dolphins should have took Herbert, Chargers should have took Tua, blah, 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 blah. So, they're going to play that into it. Just has more storyline to it. But all in all, though, this is real simple. Once again, it's a big spread. These are rivals. I like the plus 9.5 here.
We followed your lead. We bought the half point, took it to 10. I mean, at some point, you just got to say, wow, it's just not my year. Now, as a Denver fan, or their fan base, I should say, not me, a Denver fan. I was an Elway. He's still my all-time favorite quarterback. Love John Elway to this day. This is just embarrassing on how bad the Broncos are. In come the Chiefs, salty after that loss. They give you a 9.5. We bought it to 10. This is the pure contrarian play. Denver defense versus wide receivers has done very well this year. Maybe they can slow Kels down. Maybe they slow Juju down. The running game for the Chiefs has gotten stronger. This is just like a fine tune-up for the Chiefs, licking their wounds. Took the 10 and pray under over a 44. Basic math, 24, 27-17, they're saying. So I need the Broncos and Russ somehow to get to 20 or 21 to cover this. I don't know. It won't happen probably, but we took a swing here, Pops. Broncos plus 10.
All right. So we have it. We have it there. So pretty much let's just go ahead and jump into this next game. And I know this is one that's dear to Jeff's heart. This one is going to be between the Bucs and the 49ers. His old buddy Tom Brady is playing against his hometown team, the 49ers. And, the 49ers coming in here with their brand new quarterback. And as usual, if a quarterback does something where he wins the game in the middle of the game, now all of a sudden he's a Pro Bowler. You know what I mean? Because, Brock Purdy they had so many great articles about Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy was a very whatever quarterback at Iowa State, in my opinion. You know what I mean? And but he did beat out all the guys they brought in to take his job. Well, I give him that. You know what I mean? But it wasn't hard to do that when you got such a great running game behind you as well, too. That's what makes Brock Purdy a dangerous element for this 49ers team, is because he's a good game manager. It's not that he's very skillful. It's that he's a good game manager. But I think that he had a great game because Miami didn't know what to expect from him, and they didn't take him as seriously as they should have. The Buccaneers know that they're going to have to treat this guy like he's Tom Brady at practice. You know what I mean? Because, Tom is always cussing everybody out. So just envision Tom and then go ahead and go get him. You know what I mean? So I truly do think that the 49ers are about to get popped this week, but they don't have to worry about much because they're going to still win their division. Now, them being good in the playoffs, that's the question to answer. And then everybody said they'll be fine because you don't need quarterback. They don't need a quarterback necessarily to win the game. They just need a good game manager. Sorry to tell you this, but you do need somewhat of a quarterback in the playoffs. Jeff, me and you both know this. Defense will get you home, but a guy has to be able to score. We've seen defenses have the greatest defensive game ever and still lose in the playoffs 6-3. So let's not play this game to where, everything's all good and well for the 49ers. They really were thinking about getting Baker tough. They just didn't want to do the waiver wire thing. They were more willing to see if they could work out some type of contract with him to be a future backup, proud of you for Trey Lance. And that's just sad that a guy who was a first-round pick not less than 5 years ago, and he's already on his third team in about 14 months. So, yeah, that's just goes to show you the nature of today's NFL as well, too. But all in all, I still will go ahead and take the Bucs this week with the money line straight up, baby. Straight up winning, Jeff. We as they say, F them points. We just going to go for the win.
No, I like where your head. I like where your heart is. It's a 4 with a 37. Now down to a 3.5, soon to be 3 at 37. Vegas has got this pegged at 2017 all day long here. The Bucs miraculous win on Monday, had no rhyme or reason winning that game. 2 late Brady touchdowns on the last 2 possessions to get them the 1-point win. In comes what would have been the headliner if Jimmy G was still there. In comes Mr. Irrelevant. As you said, a good quarterback at Iowa State. He did have Mr. Brees Hall back there as well. So he had a little help in college. Mm-hmm. So I think here the public will be on the Bucs. We bought the hook, took them to +4. Listen, Brady and the Bucs, they don't look good. And they're in a division that they're going to be just gifted the title. I mean, they're just going to fall asleep and wake up. And where are we going week 1 into the playoff round? Are we going to Dallas? Are we going to Minnesota? And you know what? Whoever it is going to see Tom there and shake their heads. Say, oh, geez, here we go again. But till then, they got to keep playing. Bucs +4. Let's see what Mr. Irrelevant has to say in the matter. But I think the Bucs get it done.
All right. So we move on to our next game, which is going to be the Seahawks and the Panthers. This one should be a fun one because you got a Panthers team that feels like they've been relieved somewhat. Now they don't have such a log jam at quarterback with 2 former top picks, and Sam Darnold is now the man. But Sam Darnold was always their quarterback, and I think that Matt Rule was being a little bit trying to save a job. That's why he went off and got Baker Mayfield, because he thought possibly Baker could be on a team like Carolina that has a good defense and be a good game manager, be smart. And you know what? Baker, regardless of how people feel about Baker, Baker is a student of the game, and he does understand offenses very well. You know what I mean? So I know he was able to kind of trick him into becoming the starting quarterback because he's such a professional, to be honest with you. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how well you practice. It's about how well you play. And so, they had to move on down the road from him. But from what I heard, Baker did ask for his release as well, too. They didn't release him because they wanted to release him. They released him because he requested to be released. So that makes a lot of sense, because I wouldn't think you would get rid of the guy because he played bad, but he didn't play to the point to where you got to cut the guy, because there was a lot of other factors that played into why the Panthers didn't play good that day too. But the Panthers are playing better football right now. Well, I keep saying that. They just keep having really good, thorough wins. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean they're playing great football. That just means that every time we don't think they're going to do anything, they do something. You know what I mean? And every time that we get all excited and try to back them, then that's the week that they just go to absolute crap. But this team has been better. They've won their last 2 out of 3 after, just going through so many losing streaks this season. First time all year they haven't won and lost 2 in a row. You know what I mean? So that's good. And then, they thoroughly beat down Denver, and they had a bye week. So coming off the bye, they should be a little bit fresher than Seattle, but I still think that at the end of the day, Seattle is going to be too much for this team, because Seattle they're on a mission, and I think Seattle does snatch that final playoff spot in the NFC as well, too, because it's going to come down to who wins this Giants-Commanders game, who's going to get the spot out those two. But I think Seattle is good enough to get that 7th spot. And if Seattle gets in danger, that's all I can say, Jeff, is that's dangerous. That's dangerous for anybody who's playing them at the 2 seed, because Seattle is Pete Carroll, man. Pete Carroll is not going to back down. You know that. Pete Carroll is a hell of a coach.
Yeah, I was watching Gino last week. I had Kenneth Walker on one of my playoff teams, or hopefully fantasy playoff teams, and him and Gino just going at it, jarring and jarring. I'm watching Gino, and he just thinks he's Jim Zorn. He's the next coming to Air Coryell. I mean, it's Air Gino. I mean, it's just PRO, 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 and he's just throwing, throwing, throwing. And great story. I can't say it's not. This is just purely a contrarian play. Panthers plus the 4. Wouldn't be shocked if the Seahawks put up 27 here, 27-13 or something. This was just, you know what, anti-Geno. Hopefully Kenneth Walker plays. Otherwise, it could be, you know, DJ Dallas, DD Dallas, DJ Dallas, whatever his name is, Tony Jones Sr. Maybe they can, you know, call up a few of the veterans, you know, Chris Warren, or bring back Skittles, or, you know, find someone to run the ball. But they're cooking with Crisco out there as the 12th man. And we took the Panthers plus the 4 and praying here, Pops.
I know everybody loves Marshawn, but, man, keep him away from your locker room. Hey, you don't want Marshawn. No offense. I know that offend a lot of people because they swear they know football, but he was washed when he was with the Raiders at the end, dude. No, just do whatever you do on Thursday Night Football, man. And let's take a quick commercial break, and when we get back, we're going to talk about the 2 primetime games. All right. So, you guys, this is the NFL Bet Exchange with your host, Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, and the Don of Cape Cod, Mr. Jeff Dawson, and we'll be right back.
Now you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings and win big with Stable Duel. Get the app, pick your horses, and get in on the thrill of horse racing with daily games competing against other players. Bring home the glory and the cash, and move up the annual leaderboard while you leave your competition in the dust. Get in the game with Stable Duel. Play, race, win.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another in Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
All right, so we're back, and let's get into these last games. The Sunday night football. Sunday night football was a flex situation, so you now have the Chargers and the Dolphins going at it in this spot, Jeff. And I truly do feel like this is a very good game. It's a very good game for the Chargers moving forward, because this is really their season. Last week they kept trying to say it was the Chargers season, but this week is truly the Chargers season, because if they lose this one, then they fall a little bit further down the group, and I think that they really do want to get this win right here. Now, Miami might have the honeymoon may be over right now for Tua and Mick and their coach. So pretty much I lost it. I'm just losing it. What his last name is? I know it's Mike, but McDaniels. So pretty much, no, not me. Is it McDaniels?
Mike Daniels, I think.
Mike Daniels. No, is it not? No.
It's not Mick Daniels. That's out in 702.
Yeah. It's I like to call him well, he doesn't look like an NFL head coach. That's what the biggest is. That's what my biggest thing is.
McDaniel.
Yeah, he doesn't look like an NFL coach, man. He looks really like a guy who does tech work or something for the team. You know what I mean? He looks like the IT of the team, you know, and that's how you know that this team is getting ran by analytics. And but he is a great offensive mind. He does kind of remind me of Mark Trestman a little bit, you know, the old coordinator for the Browns and things like that. The guy who they were so in love with Chicago the first season he was there, and then all of a sudden they hated him. You know, got Chicago a 13-3 record. Then all of a sudden he was public enemy number one. So, you know, I look at this game and I say to myself, the Chargers, when they got their backs against the wall, they do like to show up for those games, man. I think that this game right here, they will show up for it, Jeff, to be honest with you, man. I think that they're on to something good here. I know last week they just ran out of time, honestly. And the Raiders finally finished the game the right way. The Raiders probably played their best defensive game of the season, but that's because that was their second game against the Chargers this year, so they knew it was coming. But I truly do think that the Chargers coach's job is on the line as well, too. He might not get fired during the season, but most definitely if they don't make the playoffs this year, he's gone, like without a doubt. You know what I mean? Because they need to find a true leader for this team because they just keep getting stuck. They're just so stuck. You know what I mean? And that's what the saddest part about it is. It's been like this for like the last 7 years with the Chargers too, where the Chargers are going to charger. You know what I mean? And it seems like they are the most middling team to ever exist in the NFL. I've never seen a team go 8-8, 9-7 so much in my life. You know what I mean? And win one week, lose the next week. So I like the Chargers in this spot. I think they go ahead and get themselves a nice win over the Dolphins, who I feel are starting to come back down to earth.
I agree 100% with everything you said. But with that said, Miami does travel also to Buffalo next week. Kind of will be the division. Will they be peaking here? I don't know. I just think it's going to be a shootout. I think last person with the ball wins. Vegas has got this nailed at 28-24. The look-ahead line for next Saturday is the Bills 6.5 or 7 hosting. It looks like we got 3 Saturday games next week, which is always fun, Pops, with a bunch of bowl games too, which is even better. So with that said, we took the Dolphins. We bought the hook, take them down to 2.5. Would I be shocked if it lands on 1 or 2? No. And I know I've said that a lot in this show. This is the NFL. Okay? This is not for long. And a lot of people on social media bitch, yell, scream, whine, complain because they had the team that was leading going into the fourth quarter. Well, that's why they play 4 quarters. That's why they played 60 minutes. This Charger team has the talent. I still, deep down, think Herbert's hurt. You watch him with that shoulder. It's more of a sidearm now. Just trying to muscle through, trying to get into the playoffs. You'll hear at the end of the year he's having some kind of little surgery or they're going to clean it out or something. The wide receivers have done him no justice. Keenan Allen's played 4 games now. Big Mike's out again. Eckler being Eckler's had a good year. But all in all, I'm going to lean Tua, and the Dolphins hope they win by 3 or more points.
All right. So let's go ahead and get into Monday Night Football. Monday Night Football, ready for a party. And there it is. You got the Pats and the Cards, and really, this is a game that everybody's going to say to themselves, I already know who the winner is. But you know what? This is not an easy spot for the Pats, and the Pats have already let us down on national television a few times this year. So they haven't been a good team on national television this year. That's crazy because Bill is a master when it comes to him being on TV. But I feel like Bill Belichick is going into the same state as Tom Landry right now. It's like nobody wants to tell this guy that it's just let it go. You know what I mean? So, it's up to Kraft to really see what the next step is going to be for Bill Belichick, because I got a possibility that they might be parting ways at the end of the year. Think about it. Kraft might want to say, you know what, let's start fresh. Matt Patricia is my new coach. Tom Brady is my new coach. Because Tom got it to where Tom can probably just walk into any locker room right after he's done playing and become the head coach, since he's so controlling of franchises nowadays. So I feel that the Patriots, are yesteryear in a sense, and them throwing them on Monday Night Football, they thought this was going to be a big-time game with Kyler Murray and going against the Patriots and things like that. And crazy thing is, this is the second time in 3 weeks that the Cardinals have been on Monday Night Football. So Monday Night Football, you're not following your rules very well when you said that you wanted all the NFL teams to be on Monday Night Football. But I've been seeing a lot of teams play on Monday Night Football like literally every other week. So it's like, all right, we got the Cardinals here, and the Cardinals have went back to being mediocre, so they're not really watchable anymore. So this is one of the more interesting Monday Night Footballs to where you can really pick anybody. It doesn't really matter who's going to win the game. But the Pats are a team that has playoff implications to it. The Cardinals are a team that have draft implications to it. But regardless of anything, the Pats roll in this one, Jeff. I don't care, because the Cardinals have given up, and literally it's fire Kingsbury or else. That's what I'm looking at with Kyler right now.
Well, you said a lot in that last couple of minutes there. Bill is not going anywhere unless he wants to go. Kraft made a decision. Was he going to stick with Brady or stick with Belichick? And he's sticking with Belichick. That's number one. Number two, I've been saying for a while, and I'm going to stick to it. Alabama is going to look for scapegoats on why they didn't make the Final Four. I fully expect Bill O'Brien to get the chop, and I fully expect Bill O'Brien will be the OC next year for the Patriots. Now, with that said, at least there's someone with head coaching NFL experience right there in case Bill decides to fly the coop. So that's where I'll go with that one. Pats play Monday against Arizona. Then we'll fly into Vegas and wait, and they'll have a little head-to-head matchup with their former OC and Josh McDaniels. I just went and looked at the look-ahead line. Raiders -1.5 right now on the look-ahead line. Pats usually do well here. I expect them to win. We took the money line here. I expect them to go to the Raiders and win as well. They're just going to have to make sure they slow down Mr. Devontae Adams as well there. But I like the Pats here. I think they roll. It's a under-over of 44. Pats get to 23-24. I got 23-24-17 all day on this one, Pops.
All right. So we got through this show today, even though it was kind of tough, you know what I mean? But I thank you guys for your patience and everything like that. I know even watching the replay, y'all it's not gonna be as great there in the first 30 minutes or so, but we got it done. We got you guys your plays, we got our analysts out and everything like that. I was ready to have such a banging show today, but hey, it is what it is, man. At the end of the day, we'll be back next week. Probably Tuesday, but we'll keep you posted on that regard. But I thank you guys very much for tuning in. Jeff, any final words?
No, it's week 14, guys. Keep following us. Take a little from me, a little from Pops. Figure it out. Pops had a great week last week. My followers and backers obviously didn't have a good week, but between the two of us combined, we're well over 30 games, over 500. The NFL, you are not going to get a new house with. You're not going to get a new Lamborghini. You're not going to deck the halls and, you're going to surprise the wife and kids with a 2-week trip to Disney. Okay. It's a marathon. It's week 14. We still got 4 weeks to go. Chip away, have some fun. Don't go over your skis. Have a blast. And I know me and Pops will see you on Tuesday.
All right. So you guys are the best. We'll be back to you next week. And this is the NFL Bet Exchange with your hosts, Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, and the Don of Cape Cod himself, Mr. Jeff Dawson. And we are out of here.
Thank you for tuning in to the NFL Bet Exchange, where the sharpest bets are laid. This show was produced by the Prime Wave Media Group.